Hi, I'm Trisha at Club Scrap and welcome to the Creative License Remix Page Kit Workshop. Just to keep in mind, this is a new release of a previous monthly collection from Club Scrap, so be sure you're looking at the correct video and instructions as you begin to make these pages with me. So one of the first things that we always do is just remove from your kit all of the paper. And that leaves behind an incredible assortment of fun embellishments to help you finish your pages. But for now, we just like to set them aside so they don't fall on the floor and get misplaced. I'm using my awesome Fiskars trimmer. If you don't have this trimmer, I think it's a critical tool to being successful with our unique, efficient method of scrapbooking. The cuts are always going to be nice and straight. It's just a really economical workhorse. And then I'm also using my accordion pocket file. If you don't have this, not a problem. You can still keep track of all the pieces we're about to trim by maintaining 4 separate piles, one for each double page spread. But if you're interested in making one of these for yourself, I do have a workshop available for you and a starter pack as well with the supplies needed to make that handy little organizer. It just helps us use our space more efficiently. So as we trim, we'll just file into one of the 4 pockets. So the best way to start out is to get our papers sorted into the order we'll be using them. And the first piece that we're going to end up cutting is this really cool black license plate print. So I'm just going to hold the paper in my arm and then place the paper I'm sorting face down on my trimmer base. And then after that black print, let's find the aqua print with all the cool muscle cars and text on it. We're going to put that face down. And let's see, next I want you to find 2 dark aqua plain sheets. Now, if you can recognize the dark aqua by looking at the light aqua and dark aqua, so you can see the difference. Make sure you're grabbing the darker, and we're going to grab 2 sheets of that. Next, look for a sheet of black metallic. So there is just a regular linen black, but also this gorgeous black metallic. We're going to take 2 of those, and you have been given 3 sheets actually of that gorgeous paper. Then 1 sheet of the black. Now on one side there's this deep linen texture and the other side is smooth. Doesn't matter when you're trimming what's facing up, but when I adhere it, I'd like to have the texture side facing up. Next, there is a beautiful orange in this collection. Now there are 3 sheets given, just take 1. And then going from the back of your stack, usually Deb collates the Cutaparts last. So make sure you grab the Cutapart that says cruise control. We'll go face down on that. And then the Cutapart that has those 2 fun Argyle style borders on the side. Let's continue to sort the rest of what we have here. We're going to go with the other black print. So this has all the license plates on it, face down. And then 1 of the light aqua is next. 1 black metallic. So that should be the last one of those. This process gets easier the fewer papers we have. The other aqua print, face down. 2 of your remaining orange. And then the light aqua that remains. And finally, we're going to end with the black linen. So all of that's been sort of collated face down. That means we're just going to flip everything back over, and that gets us to the sheet number 1, the black license plate print. And I'm turning to page 1 of my instructions, which will detail every cut required to create all 8 of these beautiful pages. Now, I'm going to place this in the trimmer right side up, and I'll always indicate that orientation for a print right in the diagram here. So that just makes it easy. Make sure what you see in the instructions is what you see on your trimmer. Then make sure the paper is flush with the top edge of the measuring guide here. And then we're gonna find 5.5. And if you're not used to measuring, you're gonna get your feet wet here at Club Scrap. Measuring does definitely save us a little bit of time. You put your science together with your creativity and you have efficiency. So to find 5.5, I just always look for the whole number, then go to the left 2 vertical columns. So 5 1/4, 5.5. That's right in between 5 and 6. Make sure you're looking at inches and not centimeters. Flush at the top, press down on the clear bar to stabilize, and slice. Now both of these pieces are used in layouts 3 and 4, so I'm going to show you my little file system here again. I'm going to place this into the file folder at an angle so I can still see the 3 and 4. Don't try to jam this paper down fully into the pocket. All right, moving on now to the aqua print with the cars. We'll place that into the trimmer so that the cars are at the bottom edge of our print. of our trimmer rather, and we'll cut at 8 3/4 and 5. A nice whole number for you there. The 5-inch piece that we just created is used in layouts 7 and 8, and then the remaining 2 strips are used in layout 1 and 2. We've already got 2 papers out of the way. Okay, now take 1 dark aqua, and let's cut this one at 10 1/2. And then 6 1/4. Now notice I didn't move this piece. I'm just going to slide on down. You find that 6, go to the left 1 vertical column to find 6 1/4. We'll be finding that measurement a lot today. Now let's rotate this piece and trim horizontally at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Gather up the 2 photo mats you just made. They're both the same size. And we're going to put those in pocket 1 and 2. And then you have this rectangle here that remains. We're going to trim that horizontally at 6 and 3. And this pair of rectangles is going to go into pocket 3 and 4. The next strip here, oh, I will say that you did make a little scrap when you made that cut at 6 inches. So set that in the, circular file if you like. This next strip will cut at 6 1/4. And you made 2 uneven pieces. They both are used in pocket 3 and 4. And finally, this long strip, 3 and 4 again. Okay, now the other dark aqua that we're going to cut. The first cut is the same as it was the last time, 6 1/4. More cuts that are the same, rotate and cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. These 2 pieces here that are the same go in pocket 3 and 4. Lots going into that pocket. And then once again, we're going to make this cut at horizontally on this rectangular piece, cut at 6 and 3. Okay, both of these rectangles go in 7 and 8. And then you did make a little scrap again. Sorry about that. And let's cut this final strip here at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, and 3 3/4. Those are 3 pieces the same size. All 3 of them go in pocket 5 and 6. And then you have this little strip going into pocket 1 and 2. Now, if I'm going too fast, just feel free to slow me down in your playback settings on YouTube. On 1 sheet of black metallic, make sure you only have just 1. We're going to cut at 10 1/2 and 6 1/4 again. Same thing. Rotate and cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Once again, you've made 2 pieces of the same size. They both go in pocket 1 and 2. Basically, we're making photo mats here. And then this other rectangular strip, that goes in 5 and 6. This one we're going to cut at 11 and 6 1/4. Okay, so you made another mat and then like a squattier piece. Both of those go in pocket 7 and 8. This narrow strip goes in 3 and 4. And then this long border strip, 7 and 8. And grab the other black metallic. We're going to cut at 8 and 4. So again, that's 8 and 4. Gather up 2 of the pieces that are the same size, and we'll trim at 6. That gives us 4 pieces the same size. 2 of them go in pocket 1 and 2, and the other 2 go in pocket 3 and 4. On this last piece, got a little bit more detail here, 11 1/2, 10 1/4, 8 1/4, and 6. Wow, that was kind of a lot. Place this 4x6 piece into pocket 3 and 4. Then you have on the top of the pile here, as it landed, you've got this wider rectangle that goes in 1 and 2. And then you have a slightly smaller rectangle. We're going to trim that horizontally at 2. That gives you 2 squares. Put 1 square in pocket 1 and 2, and the other one in 5 and 6. Then you have this other pretty thin rectangle. We're going to trim it horizontally at 2 again. Bear with me. Each of these pieces, these little rectangles, go in pocket 1 and 2. And then there is a tiny little scrap. Not so bad. Now, moving on to just your regular black. This is the linen texture. We're going to make some narrow strips here. We'll cut at 11 1/4, 10 1/2, all the way down to 8 3/4, and then 5 3/4, 5 3/4. Okay, rotate, and we'll cut at 11 3/4, 8, and 4 1/4. Now this first 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, that goes in pocket 1 and 2. And then these remaining 2 rectangles that are the same, those go in 5 and 6. There is a tiny little scrap here. This next 3 by 12 strip will cut at 8 and 4. Distribute these all these pieces are the same size, but we'll put them in different pockets. So put the first one in pocket 1 and 2, next one in 3 and 4, and the next one in 5 and 6. Okay, now we have these narrow strips left over. The widest one, 3 and 4. Take one of the skinny ones and it goes in 1 and 2. And the other one goes in 7 and 8. Okay, moving on to the one orange piece. We'll start out at 11 3/4. It makes a very tiny strip. And then 8. And finally 4 1/4. Rotate this one and we're going to cut at 6. Both of these pieces are added to pocket 7 and 8. And then the next strip, this is 3 3/4 right now by 12. We'll cut at 11 1/2 and 5 3/4. These 2 pieces go in 5 and 6. The next strip, this is 3 3/4 by 12 right now. We'll cut at 8 1/4 and 4 1/2. This piece and then the one that's square are both going in 7 and 8. And there's another square that goes into 1 and 2 along with this skinny little strip. We are going to be using that. So both of those little guys. And then you made this other little tiny piece. We're actually going to use that in layouts 1 and 2. Now again, if you're brand new to this, I know that went really fast for you. Trust me when I say that my experienced scrapbookers in the Club Scrap family who have been here for a little while, this is totally doable. So your pace can be up to you. I'm just working at a pace to make this efficient for everyone, and then just slow me down as you need. Press pause liberally, of course. Now on these Cutaparts, these are just all smaller pieces of artwork that we're going to trim strategically. We'll start out by removing the outer perimeter of the sheet. Now, do you see in the corners of every single corner, you'll find that plus sign. That basically is a cutting guide. So you want to get that line right up against the trimmer blade. And on this Fiskars, I can see that blade. And we're going to trim all the way around to remove that excess paper so that we begin with the perfect 12 by 12. So as you work your way around, now I make this third rotation, I should be able to see a 12 on the left, and I'm aligned with my cutting guide on the right. We used to not do it this way, but I find that we as the final user get the most accurate measurements if we make these last cuts ourselves. And you can throw away the little end cuts here. And we're right back to where I want to be. I want the words, I can't drive 55. I want that on the right. And I'm going to have you trim at 10 3/4, then 9 1/2, 7 3/4. Notice I'm letting these papers pile up to the right of the blade. I'm not moving them. And then all the way down to 4. Rotate and make sure this tiny plate is on the right here, and we'll cut at 11 and 5 1/2. Now we file strip by strip. So the cruise control goes in 3 and 4. I don't need a driver's license. That goes in 1 and 2. And then this little guy, we're gonna add to pocket 3 and 4. This next strip, make sure the words just wanted to say is in the upper right corner, are in the upper right corner. Then we'll cut at 10 1/4, 8 1/4, 5 1/2, and 2 3/4. So here's a journaling prompt with a little quote on it that goes in 1 and 2. Here's another journaling prompt, Key to My Heart, that goes in 5 and 6. And then we've got the journaling prompt here with the gears, 3 and 4. We have the cars going in 1 and 2. And this piece, we're going to place it in the trimmer so the word amazing is on the right, and cut at 2 3/4 and 1. Now, even for a small cut like this, if you just line it up and you use your finger to hold that piece right where it needs to be at 1, even a trimmer this size works out great for these tiny little cuts. All 3 of these pieces are used in pages 1 and 2. And then we have a series of strips. Now, I do like to try to pick all those up together, and the first one goes in 5 and 6. I'm going to have you set this one aside for a second, and then this other one, this goes in 7 and 8. Now, this is a video tip only. I don't have this in the instructions, but due to the wider border here, I'm going to actually trim off a little from each end here, and that's going to be about 1/8 of an inch. It ends up turning this into an 11 3/4 inch piece that frames nicely with a border strip. Just a little detail that you get. That goes in pocket 3 and 4, and I'm going to get rid of those 2 little scraps I took off the ends. Okay, final piece that we need to cut is this last one, and same thing. We're going to start out by removing those little pieces of paper from the end of each section on each side of this cut apart. Okay, with that done, we'll place this back into the trimmer with this narrow strip on the right. It's kind of a wide strip, but it's the narrowest strip, and we'll cut at 10 1/4 and 8 1/2, 8, 7 1/2, 6 3/4, and 3 1/2. Rotate, make sure Enjoying the Ride is on the right, and we'll cut at 10 1/2, 7, and 3 1/2. All right, One Amazing Day, that's going to go in pocket 7 and 8. The hubcap, 3 and 4. Parallel Park, 1 and 2. Now this is going to grow up to become a tag, and I can help it in growing up to become a tag pretty quickly just by eyeballing a cut to remove the angle. And what I typically do is line up the edge of the tag with the blade, and I want to try to match the reveal, the margin that exists on the other side. So what I do is bring my trimmer blade all the way down to where I can kind of see exactly where that trimmer is going to land. I close one eye to get a better idea of it, and I call this my one-eyed trimming technique. It's very fancy. Okay, so now I've clipped off the corners. I have an instant tag, super easy. This is going to go in pocket 3 and 4. The next piece is we're going to place this, I don't know, I just want you to take off the words "just drive," and you can do that pretty close to those circles there. Let's say we cut it around 11 1/2. Okay, and then 8 3/4 and 6, and you get some more practice doing your eyeball technique. So again, just clip the corners to match the reveal. A more accurate way, you could use a ruler, craft knife, and cutting mat to match an 1/8 inch margin all the way around. This piece is going to go in pocket 5 and 6. We have Procrastination that's going into 7 and 8, a little journaling prompt. And then we have this piece here. I'm going to grab my, this is my little circle punch. If you happen to have a 1-inch circle punch, you are in good shape. If you don't, it's not a big deal. Just use scissors to trim around the image. I think like a 1-inch punch is a pretty typical, like standard supply item. So if you don't have one here at Club Scrap, you'll probably use something like this quite a bit, and they're pretty inexpensive. So we have the 2 hubcaps. Those are going to go in pocket 3 and 4. And then joy and ride go together in pocket 1 and 2. And then the word wander, I'm just going to cut that off of there, off the side, that we're going to use in 7 and 8. Next, we have this go in the direction of your dreams. Let's cut this at 7.5. And if you can't see, you can always bring this down a little bit. There's the bottom edge of the inch markings here on the trimmer, or you can even go to the midpoint. Either way, whatever is comfortable for you. And both of these pieces, of course, are used together in 5 and 6. Okay. Then we have stripes going in 1 and 2, or dashes, 7 and 8 on the other row of dashes. And then these 2 funky border strips going 1 and 2. Okay, I just have a few triangles here to, Just Drive. Just Drive got out over there on the side. This is going to go in 3 and 4. Then we'll get rid of our triangles, and at this point we can get rid of our trimmer as well. We are all done doing all of the trimming, so everything's ready to go just to assemble your pages. Isn't that awesome? Before we start the next phase, I just want to point out that these are the only scraps that you'll have from all of that paper to make 8 beautiful pages, which I think is pretty cool. I'm going to just pitch those. And now I have this stack of papers remaining. These are sorted all very intentionally to help us with ordering our pages. So I'm going to take the 2 pieces that are at the top of my stack and put the top sheet over to the right of the center of my work surface, and then the remaining entire stack on the left of that. Let me try to get this so you can see the whole thing. And then in our instructions, we're going to turn to page 5. Here at the bottom, you can see layouts 7 and 8. And the papers required for the base of 7 and 8 should be right in front of you. The light aqua and the black print. Pretty cool, right? Then I'm going to go into pocket 7 and 8 and try to remove everything from that pocket. And make sure you have all the little things out of there. And we start at the end and work our way to the beginning so that if something got misfiled, we can figure out where it went and get it into its right place. So I don't really glue anything down at this point. Let's just kind of place mark things. Like, for example, this large strip goes across the top here. And there should be a narrow piece of black, and that's going to go right up against the edge of that print. And then we have this cute little border strip to nest with that. Cool, right? Across the bottom, we have another wider metallic strip nesting with the words, "I can't drive 55." Now, framed up in this area, we're going to take the larger metallic black photo mat and then the smaller one. Across the top here we have an orange and then an orange square. On top of the square, this should fit perfectly. One amazing day. On the right side, I'm going to do 2 vertical orange mats, kind of tilted and angled. And then below it, 2 horizontal dark aqua. And this one should nest perfectly. Now in your goodies, you have these handy little metal frames, and they come with brads. It's really clever. And Jacqueline designed so that these words would fit inside the frame. You just have to do a little bit of trimming to get that to fit in there perfectly. And once I had it trimmed, I just glued it in there so it would stay. To find the right measurement, I traced around the frame and then just cut out the word to fit. It'll be fine. Nice and easy. Or you could just even attach it on there and put that in the center. However you want to do it. You can attach them with the brads. I typically, let's see, I take an awl or a paper piercing tool. You can use a thumbtack to pierce a hole through the paper so you can easily add the brads and then split the prongs at the back. Let me show you some other things that I did to finish out these pages. Now, on the right side of this layout, I have what I call a 3-part bow, but I actually turned it into a 4-part bow. So stretching out that wide, beautiful metallic smooth metallic ribbon here, a full length of it, plus a bow and something to wrap around it. And then I made a loop of the black checked ribbon and slid it underneath that bow. Everything is secured here with some glue lines so that it doesn't come apart. And then here you can see that cute little label holder there. Got my slanted mats here on the upper left corner of that one. And on this layout, I created a double looped bow from the blue, orange taffeta ribbon here across. Everything else is as I've shown you, and then added that cute little mini key charm. Now, if you're wondering how to make these two types of bows, I do have a video all about ribbon, and you'll find the 3-part bow and the double looped bow step by step in that video, rather than having me show you, as I use these bows techniques all the time. So learn how to use them, and maybe you can have that in your creative arsenal as well. Now, to move on to the next set of pages, I'm just going to pick this up, just the light aqua piece of paper as the base, and slide it over on top of layout 8. So this is layout 7. I'm going to take the top sheet that I have next and slide it over. And in front of me then, I will find what's required for layouts 5 and 6, because we're working our way backwards all the way up to layout 1. So I'll take everything out of this pocket. Hopefully I got it all. Make sure you double check. Sometimes it's confusing if you leave something behind in a pocket when you're working on your next project. And I do typically try to distribute everything from the hand rather than from the tabletop. Saves a lot of time and frustration trying to pick things up off the table. It's a small tip, but I think it is a real time saver. Okay, so I've got 3 aqua mats here. They're a little smaller, or narrower, I should say. And look how they fit perfectly across the top of this layout with all that nice even spacing. Right below it, I'm going to add this border strip. And then below that, add the 2 horizontal orange. And look at how it frames out. So nice. I love that little formula. Now, let's see. On the left, I've got 2 linen black mats that are going to go horizontal. And then below that, I can fit go in the direction below that of your dreams. Now notice that all these pieces are flush, justified on the right. They're with a little bit of margin between the right edge of the paper, by the way. Okay, now below that, there should be room right below of your dreams for this square. And then a black linen piece will nest perfectly with your journaling prompt, Key to My Heart. This piece fits onto the black, and then once it's adhered, you can clip the corners again with your trimmer. I think this hubcap snuck its way in, and it goes in the next slit, so I just set that aside. Again, an advantage of the dry fit process. And here, I actually use quite a few of these nifty arrows here. So Jacqueline designed these printed pieces here to coincide, almost like placement guides for the arrows that we knew we were going to include. And as you're attaching the arrows, just be careful that if the arrow is overlapping a photo mat, not to put the glue anywhere where it would come in contact with the mat, preventing you from getting the photo in. And then here I just put an up arrow and a down arrow. These sweet. Oh, I just love it. Okay, finishing touches. Let's see. Here is pretty straightforward. And again, you can see how there's no adhesive behind here, so that photo can just slide right in. On this side, just a small detail, added the silver mini key charm here with our bookbinding glue and a loop of ribbon. This is a great way to add ribbon without adding bulk to your layout. It's just a small little loop. Here are the little wood arrows. Punched a hole in the top of the tag, threaded it with taffeta, and ran the taffeta around to the back of the layout. Taped it down. Easy peasy. Okay, now time to slide and stack again. So I'm going to take just the base of layout 5 and then bring over the next piece, which is orange. That leaves 2 orange pieces. And sure enough, that's what I need for layout 3 and 4. We're just zipping along here. 3 and 4, here we come. I'm taking everything out of the pocket. Make sure you get it all. Here we are, picking everything up now in my hand again, because it's just so much easier to spread the love. So this larger piece with the plates on the right edge goes on the right, and then this larger piece with the plates on the left goes on the left. So it splits it up nicely. Now across the top, I'm going to start out with let's see, the black, this wide piece of black linen strip lays down right here near the top, and then nest it with the blue or the aqua, and then nest it with the artistic license piece. Then, let's see, I got a lot of little things here. If I can stack by size, it's kind of easier for me to show you the way. So you've got a series of aqua. Take the two of the larger aqua mats, and they're going to nest perfectly. If you grab the largest ones, they'll nest perfectly with the larger metallic, with a perfect reveal of an 1/8 inch all the way around. And in the instructions, I will give you the size the photo needs to be to nest onto that perfectly as well. Okay, what else do we have going on here? Another one of these nested combinations. So if I take the last largest aqua, it'll nest with the metallic across the bottom here. There is a black linen. This is a 3x4, and it's been trimmed to nest with the journaling prompt here with the gears on it. Above that, we have two smaller light aqua, or dark aqua rather, pieces. And then this shorty will nest with the cruise control. You can use either a thin die or scissors to cut the hubcap out of this that gets tucked behind here. This little tag tucked here on top, I guess. Then we have this guy. So basically, for this plate image, just to show you how little time you really need to spend on it, just take scissors and cut around the plate. Just remove it completely from the paper here. Okay, then if you happen to have like a corner rounder, I use a corner chomper, and I like this on the 1/4 inch setting. You can remove the 4 little corners from this piece, and it nests with this guy. Sweet, right? This just drive portion fits right up in here with the other silver label plate. So just trim that to fit and you're golden. Add it with the brads like I showed you before. There also were some gears. I mean, my gosh, the goodies in this kit are just so awesome. All right, we've got a large gear that can go here and a little small gear that on this tag. The other larger gear goes right kind of in this opening in the frame here on this journaling prompt. And then the 2 smaller gears, I used our bookbinding glue to attach them. I added them to the left and right edges of this plate. Cool, right? Did I use the mini key? I might not have used it in this layout, but I've been pointing those out to you too. Aren't those adorable? Okay, then you have, this is so awesome. You have the epoxy stickers. And let me show you how I use these with the flattened chrome bottle caps. So here are those bottle caps. You get 4 of them, and you get 4 little pieces of art. I have our bookbinding glue always on the ready in a needle tip applicator like this. And then you can take the hubcap and just shove that down into the flattened bottle cap. Now, if you wanted to, you could maybe leave that to dry a little bit so it stays put in there. And then I used like a little stylus tool or a little something to just get that down deep into the cap. Isn't that cool? Now I'm going to take my bookbinding glue again, and I'm just going to go around the perimeter of these caps to give me a little extra help in making sure my epoxy stickers stay put in there as well. So now I've got the glue on the top of the art, and it will dry clear. And I'm going to drop down this little sticker into it. They look like little glass bulbs. It's really the perfect art for this collection. I love these. They're easy to use, they're flashy, they're one-dimensional, just perfect. So those accompany the other caps here on the page. And I will give you a peek at the finished. All those details. This has been added with foam adhesive, and then again, a hole punch with that orange taffeta ribbon. Then here are my finished caps. So you can see that the glue did dry perfectly clear. And then that rounded hubcap charm. And then here's that gear charm attached here with bookbinding glue as well. On the other facing page, you can see this has been added with the brads, and the gears have been attached here down at the bottom. So let's take this page here. This is 3. I'm going to slide it on over and then slide one time more, and we are at page 1 and 2. My unedited footage right now is 37 minutes. That's not bad for all that trimming and already 6 layouts. Okay, let's start up by distributing our pieces. This particular car, I don't know what kind of car it is. Maybe it's a Charger or something. It's a GTO. There you go. It says GTO right there. That goes on the bottom of the right page, flush with the edge. And the other one with the other car that I don't know what it is goes on the top edge. I'm sure some of you are like, Trisha, don't you know? Don't you know what kind of car that is? Here, if you want to replicate exactly, this border strip has the deep aqua kind of on the bottom edge with a little space black between it. Then across the bottom of your layout, I did gray bottom, orange on the top of this strip, about, I don't know, 1/4 inch from the bottom edge. Then, let's see, you have a nested dark aqua. So you should have pieces that fit inside them. Make sure you're grabbing the smaller because there are quite a few little pieces of black. If they don't fit, or they're not the right ones, they should fit right on top. And then you have larger ones that go on the right. These are all black metallic. You have a orange square, and that's going to fit right into this area perfectly. That nests with this Cutapart. On the right lower corner, let's begin with the black linen strip nested with this, and in between the print and this little nested strip, I'm going to add some orange. And what that does is brings the orange over from the left to the right side of the layout. Nest this onto the black, and that goes in the corner. You should have another nesting piece for the journaling prompt, the black linen here. This sneaks right over here. If you want, you can slide it under just ever so slightly. This rectangle nests with the cars that tuck behind here. And you've got, oh, yes. You've got a series of these 3 smaller pieces. So they go small, square, small. And you've got, just wanted to say, you are amazing. Your last 2 bottle caps and epoxy stickers will have the words joy and ride. So those will go there. And I showed you how to work with those. Our last 2 little arrows are added to these little cars. And then you have these 2 pieces that would have been scraps, but not with me. Oh no. These were very scrappable scraps. I like to cut a little arrow in the end of the paper with scissors. You could use a craft knife or something if you wanted to be a lot more accurate. I just eyeball. If you're not happy, you can try again, because most of these, the surface area is hidden behind this layout right here. Doesn't that, I mean, it just adds a little something, something, right? Okay, so the finished layouts here. I have them out of order. This is layout 2. Added my final key to the little banner that I made from scraps. I've attached my bottle caps. I use my ATG adhesive for attaching them to the paper itself. I also was able to use the checked ribbon. So you just trim off like a 14-inch piece and wrap the excess inch around to the back. There's the arrows added here. Then on our final page 1, another double looped bow with a taffeta. Love the way that taffeta lays. And it creates just the tiniest knot here. If you wanted to round the corners on this, you could. Hindsight, maybe I wouldn't have rounded them because nothing else is rounded, but I do like that finished look of that. So that was an option you could follow along with as well. And that is the Creative License Remix. I hope you, especially even if you're a beginner, to see all of this go down, to see the magic of this method and how it can work for you. You might be a little bit concerned about getting your pictures onto these pages, but trust me, glue everything down, go to your pictures, find something that correlates with it. Maybe a boy birthday, maybe a new driver in your family, maybe a family road trip. Whatever you've got going on, give it a whirl with pairing it with these pages. You will be amazed at how efficient our method works. And when you're done, you have no scraps, nothing but scrapbooks. I hope to see you soon in another Club Scrap page, card, or project workshop. And thank you so much for joining me.